Hi everyone, it's Becky here. Welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel. Today I am taking you all to Granville Island. So first of all, we're going to take the SkyTrain to Main Street Station. Here is the Pacific Central Railway Station. Just showing you this cool building here. We're not taking the railway, but we're taking the aquabus from here, Main Street Science World Station. I'm just tapping my compass card to get out of the station. I'm gonna cross the street and walk along the seawall to find the aquabus stop. This is Falls Creek, and the weather is so beautiful today. It's nice to see people sailing and kayaking. Here is the walkway to the aquabus stop. So one just left. Let's check the price to Granville Island here from Main Street. So for adults is 14 Canadian dollars return trip. Here comes the colorful rainbow aquabus. So one aquabus fits about 15 to 20 people. Here's my ticket, and we have a really nice driver and his assistant. We're leaving Main Street, and in the distance is a stadium, and it's not too busy here on the aquabus, and I'm really enjoying the sunshine and fresh air here on water. We're reaching Granville Island. As you can see, the bridge and these boat houses, and the Burrard Bridge is there in the distance, the Granville Bridge, and lots of private boats here. And the Granville Island Market is right there. We're just turning around and get ready to disembark the boat, the aquabus. Okay, here we're leaving, and I think it was about like a 20-minute aquabus ride from Main Street here to Granville Island. And because it's summertime, Granville Island is at its busiest time of the year. Here I'm walking into the market building. As you can see, everywhere it's just people, and people. And here is my favorite cafe here on Granville Island, Petite Annie, and I love their caramel macchiato. I'm just lining up to get my German style hot dog, and I got my cup of macchiato. So as you can see, there are too many people in front of the nice view, so I decided to retreat to a much quieter spot on the edge of Granville Island, somewhere near the entrance. So they have a kids market across the water here, lots of foliage around, and I'm gonna sketch the kids market building right behind me across the pond. Alright, so I'd like to take about a minute or two to visualize the size and placement. So in this case, my main subject matter is the yellow kids market building. So I don't want to put it in the absolute middle of my page spread. I want to put it a little bit on the left side, starting with the general outline, the tower area here in the middle with a rainbow signage. Yeah, so just trying to get all of the color stripes for the rainbow here. Yeah, and on the rainbow is the name of the market. So trying to get all of these letters kind of broken into pieces by the rainbow stripes. And just trying my best to fit all of these letters in. It's a little bit tricky. We need pretty good visualization skills to fit all those letters in. Okay, now it's time to work on the two wings. It's kind of like a bird, a very abstract bird shape. So now I'm just drawing the awning right underneath the roof of the top floor over here. So a lot of abstract big, medium, and small shapes to connect and to overlap. And this is actually not the kids market building. It's actually the cafe on the left side, overlapping on top of the wing area of the market building. And also little umbrellas outside, people walking by, adding on to that. And the railings, some bushes underneath the cafe building here. And now I am just tracing out the contour outline of the willow tree here. The willow tree has a pretty different bumpy kind of outline with lots of piles, kind of like brooms stacking on top of each other. So that's the 3D form that I feel about the willow tree. And also these thin, soft branches draping down from each pile. And just drawing someone passing by the cafe building and the windows of the little cafe building. So because I have a pretty straight on view of all of these buildings, I'm just focusing on the shapes. There's not very much three-dimensionality about these buildings, so just focusing on shapes and patterns and lines. So I'm just using these broken lines to depict the rooftop pattern of the kids market building, which kind of adds interest. And just adding a bit of accentuation for the rooftop on the left wing here. Now it's time to draw the Granville Bridge behind. So yeah, there's a bit of perspective over here. It's kind of like all of these lines are going down towards the right, merging into a vanishing point somewhere pretty low on the right hand side. And these vertical railings. So I see a lot of triangles, adding accentuation on certain parts of the railing to depict that the light is coming from one direction. The other side is shaded for each bar. And as you can see, these triangles are getting smaller and smaller as they move into the distance because of perspective. And yeah, just trying my best to get these triangles in, and these slanting lines is the floating part, kind of like a roof for the body part of the bridge. Again, more geometrical shapes. Yeah, okay, so that's it for the bridge. It takes some patience to get that done. Now I'm ready to move on to the right wing area, which is mostly obstructed by these willow trees and other bushes around. And now I'm actually going back to the left side of the sketch to add more middle ground details, like these bars around the pond and more little people walking outside the market. Yeah, it's like a little plaza over here, and also a children's playground outside the market, and more bushes growing along the bank of the pond over here, using loose and swiping lines to get those stalks done. Now it's time to draw the rocks underneath. And yeah, a lot of these rocks are kind of squarish, not too round. But above the rocks, in between the bars, I see a strongly shaded area. So just use solid black ink to get those areas done, to give a sense of depth. And then more little branches or bushes for the foreground area. Yeah, so these leafy areas are just a few steps in front of me. So when I'm sketching a really messy bush like this, I tend to see the rhythm of how these leaves are growing. All of these leaves, they are growing in groups, aligning on the same stalk. The stalk could be going vertically or bending a little bit. Yeah, some are pretty straightforward to see, like these ones that I'm drawing, going in vertical ways, aligning on the same stalk. So that's the pattern. And other stalks might be laying almost horizontally, and yeah, very random ways. So just trying my best to see the difference. Okay, now it's time to move on to the middle part of my main subject matter. This is the monkey bars for the kids to climb on. And now I'm drawing the upstairs windows. Yeah, so there are 3 floors for this market building. So you want to get these 4 windows done first because they're very similar. Just adding accentuation around the frames, and then all of these vertical ones are aligning on the same vertical axis, and then these short horizontal lines. Yeah, so these 4 windows, they are very much the same. For these 2, I see a red nose of a clown and the eyeballs of that clown face and eyebrows. Really, really adorable. And just drawing the texture for the roof here on the right wing. Now it's time to draw the entrance of the kids market, starting with these brackets wrapping around the door and the base. Before finishing up the horizontal line, I want to add these people walking out of the market. Over here, tiny little people. And then adding more bars for the top part of the door, railings. And I think the left door is shut and this one is open here on the right. Okay, one more window over here for the second floor. The window frame details. The division line over here for the middle part. Some tiny little renderings here and there. And one window for the second floor here on the right wing. And keep adding these foliage details. I think I want to finish the whole spread here all the way to the right. Yeah, and some more branches. As you can see, when I'm drawing foliage, I like to focus on how these leaves are growing on each individual branch. So here I am sorting out these twigs of the willow tree here in the foreground, just a few steps away from me. Yeah, so this is the foreground willow tree here, and all of them are dangling down. Willow trees are pretty organized compared to other species of trees, and now joining those twigs to a major branch, and some more dangling down on the other side of the tree. And after identifying a couple of major branches, I'm ready to draw the trunk of the willow tree and the bark texture. So willow tree bark has a pretty different texture compared to other trees. They're going sideways, and more branches and foliage details. Bit of accentuation on these major branches. Now I see that these two branches are really animated. It's kind of like arms and hands showing you, inviting you to come to the kids market in the middle. So this is something that I didn't plan before. It's something that's happening during the creative process, that you're actually engaging with your drawing, with the abstract gestures created by these lines. And you need a really good imagination to make the drawing process more fun, rather than just trying to copy what's in front of you. And yeah, imagination is very important for all creative or even scientific processes. Okay, just adding some accentuation for the bank here, some shaded areas, and some extra details. Yeah, just keeping the edges of the sketch pretty loose without too much details. That's it for the drawing part. And now it's time to have fun with watercolors. So here I am using the Mundane brand watercolors. I put some Etchr watercolors in it for some of my favorite colors. And now starting with the sky area, which is very small, just wetted that sky area with a little clear water and putting on these horizontal brushstrokes of cerulean blue, slightly diluted. And leaving a little bit of white stripes in between for the very light clouds in the sky. It was almost cloudless that day. And same for underneath the bridge, those negative spaces in between the gaps of these little elements. Now I'm just wetting the bridge area. There's more sky going in between those railings. And now I'm just painting the exterior of the kids market, which is a really nice contrasting color with the sky. This is very much lemon yellow with a little bit of yellow ochre and a tiny bit of orange. So I'm trying to play with just a simple flat wash by mixing 2 or 3 colors together to create a gentle gradients. As you can see, I'm putting more orange and orange red on the bottom of the market building. And for the roof is leftover burnt sienna at the first layer. Pretty diluted because it's a sunny day. This brown is being washed out a bit by the sunshine. Alright, so now I am putting some super diluted leftover yellow and yellow-orange for the willow tree there on the left. And this is the reflected color of the market building on the pond. And also a little bit of red-orange, using the cherry red for the clown's nose and the cheek. Just wetting this large area of foliage is a blend of many trees and bushes together. Yeah, and just keep wetting this very much the foreground area of the willow tree and the bushes. The first layer of green is the lightest tone that I can see, that I can sense in front of me, containing a lot of yellow. Again, this is a play of multiple colors, including lime green, lemon yellow, yellow ochre, and a little bit of orange. So about 4 colors in different ratios for every few brushstrokes to create this very interesting and expressive blend of color patches merging together. So this part is super relaxing to do. Again, when we're painting, we don't have to be always thinking that we have to be realistic. We don't have to. So all we have to do is to pay attention to the colors, be more sensitive to the colors that we see, and play with wet onto wet. And now I'm trying to put on some mid greens. This is very much lime green, and lime green mixed with hooker's green or viridian green. As you can see, I'm already created some really nice contrast, and also some slightly darker tones of green now with viridian green mixed with burnt sienna for some darker shades closer to the trunk of the willow tree, and also in between some of the dangling branches, keeping my brushstroke pretty thin and controlled so I'm not overpainting and covering too many of those bright illuminated areas. So as I mentioned before in my previous videos, on a bright sunny day, the foliage greens are mostly light and mid greens. The shade green is actually very minimal, so make sure that we don't overpaint the shade color of greens. And same for the bushy area here, just a few steps away from me. Same ideas, but here I am putting on a bit of soil color. This is a mix of burnt sienna and a little bit of orange. And same for the willow tree trunk here, a super diluted orange brown. And again, playing with water control and the ratio of brown and orange. And gradually I'm adding a slightly less diluted value of orange brown for the tree trunk. Let it dry a little bit before coming back, and this is the same technique for the willow tree there in the middle ground, playing with a nice blend of light and mid greens there, adding some mid-tones of lime green mixed with viridian green, using dotting brushstrokes for these tiny little leaves. Right now it's time to go back to the willow tree trunk. It needs more contrast and textural details. So this is very much burnt sienna. So just kind of applying this using thin brushstrokes, and also this is still burnt sienna but containing less water. So water control gives a nice feel of transition of values, even though if you're only using 1 or 2 colors. And now I am grabbing some raw umber to add these little bits of shaded areas for the rooftop areas for the market building. And then some brown for these rocks as well, some more red for the clown's face up there, and lots of just pure cherry red to paint these window frames and railings around, just to make this market building stand out even better. Yeah, so I believe these red frames are pretty important to make this market building look more prominent. And then these rainbow stripes, so the 7 colors of the rainbow. I have to clean my brush after every brush stroke. And yeah, I think the signage of the market building is pretty cool. And adding some more fresh red color for the railings, the bars outside. And the cafe building is actually in good unity with the market building. So the red is also a really nice contrasting color with all the greens around, making this sketch looking more powerful. So now I am creating my own grays with blue and magenta to paint these shaded areas for the window panels. I'm also mixing my own metallic gray for the bridge using a combination of cobalt blue, a little bit royal purple, and a tiny bit of green. Keep it diluted so it looks kind of like having an illusion of a metallic shiny surface. And same for the other grayish areas for the building here and there. Yeah, shaded areas. I like to use this blue purplish gray for shaded areas, shadows. And don't forget the reflective blue for the pond, echoing with the blue sky above. So that's simply cerulean blue diluted. And yeah, putting on little bits of colors here and there. Now it's time to shade underneath the bridge, which contains a lot of metallic scaffolds over there. Just trying to keep it simple with these different values of purplish and bluish grays. And I'm trying to shade the space behind these triangular bars of a lighter blue and purplish tone, just so those triangular bars could stand up better because they are in the very front. Okay, and adding a little bit of gray here and there for shaded areas around the building. And this is the final rendering stage. I'm adding more contrast for this willow tree here with mostly mid and a tiny bit of dark tones for the bottom of the canopy, and also for the bottom of these bushes as well. And when we're painting foliage, it's completely okay to have very loose, choppy pieces or brush strokes showing, especially for the top layer. That creates a really nice sense of leafy texture and sense of depth. Yeah, just adding a tiny bit, almost invisible, tiny little renderings here and there, mostly shaded areas for the building, using leftover purplish gray for inside the windows. And just using thin brush strokes to draw these metallic bars for the underside of the bridge. Final bits of renderings for the bridge, trying to eliminate as much details as I can. And here's the look of my finished sketch. Thank you so much for watching this video, everyone. If you like it, please click like and leave me a comment below. Subscribe to my channel for weekly updates. I update my channel right now. It's summertime, about 2 to 3 new videos every week.
I'm trying to find my passage back to the place I was before. Relax at night, man. We are programmed to receive. You can check it anytime you like, but you can never leave.
And now it's time to catch an aqua bus back to Main Street. I love seeing the sparkling water of Falls Creek. And again, the aqua bus is not too busy. We have a lady driver this time. And this Yale Town behind me, here we're getting closer to Main Street. And I will see you around very soon next time. Here's the SkyTrain station. Bye everyone.